When you find yourself lost in endless cycles of thought, it feels like your mind has trapped you in a room with no doors. Stop Overthinking. 23 Techniques to Relieve Stress explores how people get stuck in these mental loops, why the mind insists on replaying the same worries, and how to finally step off the spinning wheel. The book begins with an honest recognition of what overthinking does to your life. It paints a vivid picture of how a single worry can spiral, picking up speed like a snowball rolling downhill until it becomes overwhelming. These negative spirals drain energy, cloud decision-making, and rob you of the present moment. The author draws you into stories of everyday life, lying awake replaying conversations, endlessly analyzing whether you made the right choice, or anticipating disasters that never arrive. These relatable examples show that overthinking isn't just a quirk, it's a habit the mind builds through repetition. The good news is habits can be unlearned. Just as the brain is skilled at looping, it is equally capable of breaking free when given new patterns to follow. One of the most powerful ideas the book offers is the concept of mental clutter. Just like a messy room creates stress and distraction, a cluttered mind leaves no space for calm. We fill our thoughts with half-finished worries, imagined scenarios, and lingering regrets. The book invites you to notice this clutter, not with judgment, but with curiosity. By identifying which thoughts are useful and which are just noise, you can begin to clear mental space and breathe again. The narrative takes a gentle but firm approach to reframing the way you see your inner dialogue. Instead of treating your thoughts as absolute truths, you are encouraged to see them as temporary visitors. Some deserve attention, others can simply pass through. This shift changes your relationship with thinking itself. The mind still generates worries, but you no longer feel obligated to host every one of them. Another thread woven throughout the book is the importance of presence. Overthinking almost always pulls you away from now, either dragging you into the past or pushing you into an imagined future. To counter this, the book emphasizes anchoring yourself to the present. This doesn't require dramatic changes or elaborate rituals. It can be as simple as noticing the feel of your breath, the texture of your surroundings, or the small details of a task at hand. Each return to the present interrupts the spiral. The author brings these lessons to life with moments of storytelling. A student worries endlessly about an exam result, only to discover that the fear of failure hurt more than the result itself. A professional replays a minor workplace mistake for days, until they realize their colleagues have already forgotten. Through these stories, you see how overthinking is not just unhelpful, but unnecessary. Most of the suffering exists only in the mind's theater, not in reality. Breaking free requires patience. The book doesn't promise a switch you can flip but rather a path you can walk. Small techniques, pausing to breathe, redirecting attention, noticing patterns, begin to form a toolkit. Over time, these practices replace spirals with clarity. The emphasis is not on eliminating thoughts, which is impossible, but on guiding them into healthier directions. One particularly striking insight is that overthinking often disguises itself as problem-solving. We convince ourselves we're preparing for every outcome, when in truth we're just recycling the same fears. The author carefully unpacks this illusion, showing how productive reflection has an endpoint, while overthinking loops without progress. By learning the difference, you can stop mistaking anxiety for action. As the chapters unfold, a theme of self-compassion emerges. Harsh self-criticism feeds overthinking, while kindness toward yourself quiets it. The book encourages treating yourself as you would a close friend, with patience, understanding, and forgiveness. This creates a mental environment where growth becomes possible, because you are no longer fighting yourself. Decluttering the mind also means learning to set boundaries, with your time, with information, and even with other people. Just as you wouldn't allow constant noise in your home, you can choose what inputs you let into your thoughts. Limiting unnecessary stressors, reducing multitasking, and creating intentional pauses during the day all contribute to a calmer mental space. The writing highlights how control over your thoughts begins with awareness. Simply noticing when you're spiraling is already a victory. From that awareness, you can choose whether to continue feeding the thought or to step away. The act of stepping away, even briefly, weakens the spiral's grip. With repetition, your brain begins to form a new habit, calm instead of chaos. The author also illustrates how physical actions can aid mental clarity. A short walk, organizing a room, or engaging in creative expression all shift your attention from abstract worry to grounded activity. These small actions reconnect the body and mind, reminding you that life happens here and now, not in endless mental projections. What makes the book effective is its realism. It doesn't pretend you can live without worry, nor does it demand perfection. Instead, it offers practical steps for reducing the weight of overthinking so that worry becomes a passing cloud rather than a storm. You learn not to resist every thought, but to ride the current without letting it pull you under. By the end, the book circles back to its core promise: freedom from mental clutter, negative spirals, and constant self-doubt. You emerge with a deeper understanding that calm is not a place you arrive at once and for all, but a path you continually return to. Overthinking doesn't vanish, but it loses its power to control you. The closing chapters leave you with a sense of empowerment. You can declutter your mind, refocus on the present, and replace spirals with clarity. Most importantly, you realize that calm is within your reach, not because the world becomes less chaotic, but because you've learned to guide your inner world toward peace.